Yeah. Oh. Okay. Well, I guess I won't be needing this for a few episodes then. Hey, what is up, guys? It's Dupree, aka Darth Hater, here with my reaction to episode 2, season 2 of The Mandalorian, or I should say chapter 10, The Passenger. This episode was kind of, I feel like it was a little bit of like more world building. It wasn't anything as crazy over the top as the last episode. We start literally at the end of the last episode. The Mando and Baby Yoda are driving through the desert on the swoop bike with the Krayt Dragon meat and Boba Fett's armor strapped to it. We see like some bounty hunters or some thugs, you know, in the desert setting a trap. It makes a lot of sense that the Mando and Baby Yoda are still wanted by the Remnant Empire. Obviously Moff Gideon is still wanting Baby Yoda for whatever reasons. There's this one part in that whole fight with the bounty hunters that kind of got me. I wasn't expecting that we're going to go anywhere with this. So one of the bounty hunters, a smaller one, after all the other bounty hunters or thugs are defeated, this guy takes Baby Yoda and has him he's like holding him like with a knife up to him. And I did not think they were gonna go there with this show like that, because everybody loves, you know, the child, aka Baby Yoda. Like, he's like one of the mainstays of the show, and it's a kid, so you don't think like you can see some imagery like that. But then again, this show isn't exactly the most Disney show out right now. After he defeats him, doing some cool stuff. And then he goes back to Mos Eisley carrying all of the stuff he had on the swoop bike, the meat, the Baby Yoda, Boba's armor, and then also wearing his armor. You know, at the same time, it was kind of like Finn during The Force Awakens, but just, you know, and then some. It's like, okay, yeah, you walk through the desert and everything, but did you walk through the desert with carrying all these weights? Do you even lift, bro? So he goes back to the cantina and Mos Eisley carrying all the stuff, and then he sees Amy Sedaris' character Pili Motto playing Sabak with some alien. This is a classic trilogy alien, but then he's also in the last season, The Mandalorian, and then he tells her, like, you know, he found the Mandalorian, but like, you know, that lead dried up, so he needs another link to find his people, to which she has a contact, and the contact says her husband has seen some Mandalorians on another planet, and if she takes her and her brood safe passage to see her husband will give more information. But the only catch is you have to fly sub-light instead of using light speed, which I don't get. Obviously, it has probably something to do with her eggs that she's carrying. And it's so cute. It's so funny. Like, you know, I think this is one of the cutest moments of the episode, with Baby Yoda being so inquisitive, you know, and then he presses his face like on the glass to see, like, you know, the little eggs, and then uses the Force to pull them up to him. Baby Yoda steals the show. A lot of this episode, he steals the show. After that, they're flying sublight, and then the Razor Crest is flanked by 2 X-Wings, trying to see if he's a former Imperial. Just brushes him off, gives fake clearance codes, basically just trying to get him off his tail. They ask him to ping them the information. Basically, the Mandalorian just came to, like, you know, a police checkpoint, and instead of going through the checkpoint, he just like straight up goes on the run on this random ice planet. They don't say what planet it is. I doubt it's Hoth, obviously. I doubt it's Ilum, like everybody was thinking. Obviously, the Razor Crest is no match flying for some X-Wings, so he has to do some crazy maneuvers and everything. And then he ends up crash landing and then falling through like an ice cave. And this kind of reminded me of an episode of Star Wars Rebels where Zeb and Kallus actually do somewhat of the same. Like, they get stuck in this ice pit and have to survive. And that's basically what happens to the Mandalorian and, like, I guess we'll call her Frog Lady. And the funny thing, I didn't realize the Frog Lady is actually voiced by D. Bradley Baker, oddly enough. and it's speaking its own weird language. I don't know what kind of alien this is. I feel like we've seen this species before somewhere. Can't put my finger on it, but it's a semi-familiar kind of alien. They're crash landing on this planet. The Mandalorian's trying to fix his ship. Baby Yoda's sneaking off to eat some of her eggs, which is kind of messed up. And then I guess she takes off because she doesn't want her eggs to freeze, and finds like some cave with like natural springs, and takes like, you know, like a little jacuzzi bubble bath with her eggs. And I thought it was interesting. Like, you know, this is like one of those world building episodes, so you know, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Like any other shit with a slow episode like this, I would be kind of mad, but this is Star Wars, and seeing as like we kind of got like a lot of episodes like this in Star Wars Rebels, where it's like you'd have a crazy episode and then kind of a slow down episode that kind of just like, you know, builds like character development. Like, I'll take it. So after Baby Yoda, like, you know, Mando find the frog lady, they gather up her eggs and everything, and then Baby Yoda sees some things in this cave. And as soon as I saw those little sacks of little round things in the cave, I knew that looked familiar in my head. Like, that reminded me of something else. Like, I got a strong Aliens vibe, and then I also got another vibe of something I've already seen in Star Wars before, to which I have, and I'll go about that in a minute. So Baby Yoda goes over to the little egg sacks, opens one up, and then as soon as he pulls out this little spider thing, I'm like, oh no. I know what this is, and I know what's about to happen. It was semi-predictable, but you know, it is what it is. As soon as he does that, you start hearing this noise in the background, and then all of a sudden you start seeing these little spiders, and then medium spiders, and then one very large spider that just appears and starts chasing them. Now, the spiders in this episode are called Krykna, I believe that's how you say it. So they first showed up in the Ralph McQuarrie concept art on Dagobah in The Empire Strikes Back. There's a picture of Nest what's laying eggs next to Luke and Yoda as Yoda's training Luke, and we never saw anything from that. We just thought it was like, you know, concept art up until Star Wars Rebels. Now, Star Wars Rebels Season 2 Episode 20, when the Rebels make a base on a new planet, I have a similar problem with the same species, with the Krykna. You get them in the Ralph McQuarrie concept, then you get them in Star Wars Rebels, and now we're getting those in The Mandalorian, which is interesting. You know, I never thought we'd see, like, you know, some random live action creatures like that from an animated series pop up. It was kind of the same. Then it was like kind of like an Aliens vibe, where like they're running from like the aliens and the Queen. Really got that vibe. You know, Mando's like, you know, he has the eggs, he has Baby Yoda, and Frog Lady's running with him, and then the Frog Lady goes on all fours and starts hopping. And it's just, you know, it's a Star Wars humor. It's like silly enough, you know, for this universe to be like, you know, okay, whatever. I'll accept it. Anyway, they get to the ship. You know, then the ship gets invaded, but they basically have to seal themselves up in the cockpit, and Frog Lady, you know, like helps out and ends up blasting a couple, like, you know, the spiders. And I felt so bad. Like, Baby Yoda had one in his head, and you're just like, oh no, not the baby. You know, they lock themselves in and they prepare to take off, and then the big queen alien spider, Krykna, whatever, comes in, smashes like the ship and everything, and you're like, okay, well, I guess this is the end. Then next thing you know, you see some blaster fire, some blasters taking out the mama Krykna. You hear just a little blast and everything going on, to which Mando eventually goes out of his ship to see the two X-Wing fighters that were chasing him, that were basically trying to see who he was, land parked right outside the Razor Crest. The pilots are outside, you know, blasting, like, you know, the little what's left of the spiders. And it's funny because the second episode that we've got with Dave Filoni as a Rebel pilot, so I think the man, so safe to say, I think the man really likes Rebel pilots, or he likes being a Rebel pilot. I'm not too familiar with who the other pilot was, but it definitely wasn't, you know, any of the pilots that were in the last season with him, because they were all the directors. I don't know who this could be or not. They basically run his info and find out that he was part of the bounty hunters that tried to break to break a prisoner free on the Republic prison ship in the last season. And they gave him a pass because he was the one who actually tried to save one of the soldiers that were on the ship, Matt Latner's character. I forgot his name already right now. But anyway, they gave him a pass and just let him go. You have a warrant out for your arrest, but because you did this, we'll let you go. Which was interesting. And it's funny because if he had just let them scan him in the first place, I'm pretty sure the same thing would have happened. Then he wouldn't have to go through all this. Spiders, he wouldn't have got his ship banged up, nothing. I guess Mando goes back to the ship. They try and fix or replace, you know, the ship the best they can. The best they could do is seal up the cockpit. So the rest of the ship is pretty banged up. So that's where that clip from the teaser a few weeks ago, where we first see the Razor Crest flying and the doors are open and it just looks banged up. Basically, you have to limp to the planet that the Frog Lady's husband is on. And yes, Frog Lady. She doesn't have a name. I looked it up. It just says Frog Lady. The episode ends. We see Baby Yoda, like, you know, everybody's going to sleep and Baby Yoda's just there, just like eating like another egg off in the distance. This is so cute. It's messed up, but it's cute at the same time. Anyway, about this episode, it was okay. I give it like a 3 out of 10. It wasn't terrible. Like I said, I just wish this thing like this episode a little later to the season, because episode 1 dropped and hit the ground running. Like, it was an extremely pleasing, exciting episode, and then to follow up with this, it's like, okay, this is gonna be an interesting season. But like I said, strong Aliens vibes, strong Star Wars Rebels vibes. Oh, this reminded me of the episode from season 1 of Star Wars Rebels where Hera and Sabine have to go and meet Fulcrum for some fuel, and they go to that base. I forget the name of it, but it shows up in the Clone Wars also. They go to that base and have to escape the Fear Knocks, those weird little cat funny face things. It felt just like that. And then there ends up being like a bigger one, like there always is. There's always a bunch of babies, and then, you know, ends up having the bigger one. And then also Aliens. This was totally like, you know, and had an Aliens vibe. But like I said, this is a cool little filler episode. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but it was cool. World building at its finest. Anyway, chapter 12 drops next week, next Friday. And I'm assuming we're gonna end up on the water planet that was teased. In the teaser shots, you see Baby Yoda, the Mandalorian, the barge holding the egg, the Frog Lady's egg thing. Well, next episode, I feel like is gonna pay off. So hopefully, I think we're gonna see the first seeing Sabine, because in the trailer, they go to the water planet, and then we see a shadowy figure. Also, I'm wondering if Boba Fett comes in more into play with this, seeing as he was teased in the Marshall episode, the first episode. So I'm wondering if he's just gonna drop in later in the season as well. But anyway, this has been my first thoughts about the episode called The Passenger. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Let me know what you guys thought about Baby Yoda eating Frog Lady's babies. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. May the Force be with you. This is the way.